There are times in a nation's life when the signs of strain become too great to hide. We see it on the news now. Stories from halls of justice across our country. Judges speaking of a flood they cannot hold back. Whispers of rules bent to breaking, and courts crowded with hope and frustration. If you feel unsettled by all this, if you feel a chill at the thought of law and order under siege, you are not alone. History has seen times like these, but let us keep calm reason. Let us step back together and see the shape of the trouble before us. Picture a courthouse in a busy American city, lit late into the night, stacks of papers crowding a judge's desk, the faces of clerks, tired yet determined, poring over plea after plea for bond, for a chance to be heard. This is not a battle of party slogans. It is a matter of how the Republic treats her laws, her judges, and those who seek their turn before her bar. The latest crisis began with a bold stroke. New rules, stricter than before, calling for immigrants to be held without bond while they await their day in court. The hope, say some, is safety and order. But now the courts are all but snowed under. Federal judges in Georgia, in Minnesota, in New York, Maryland, Washington and beyond declare they are overwhelmed. Motions stack up, petitions flood in. Editors call it a judicial emergency. Think of a small-town courtroom at dawn. Rows of benches empty but for a few souls. A judge leafing through files, her hand on her brow. The rule of law stands upon the work of such hands. But the law is not a single man's decree, nor any one officer's to command. The founders built this house, and I was among them on the balance of powers. Each branch has duties, none may rule alone. When the executive grows bold, striving for the safety of all, the courts must give answer, test each act by the measure of law. Today, district judges, some named by one party, some by another, sound the same alarm. The system strains. They issue orders, some to grant hearings, some to delay removals, some to halt the tide. Higher courts, too, have spoken. An appeals court says, yes, the officers may hold them. Lower courts beg to differ, pointing to rights, to the words of law and justice. Each court struggles to serve the country, not to grab power. But the clash of rulings, the confusion in the ranks, threatens more than delay. It brings disorder, doubt, and, if left unchecked, the fraying of the cords that bind us. Imagine a federal judge at his kitchen table, coffee gone cold, scanning a petition filed just before midnight, while outside the streets are hushed. But the law's business has no sleep. This is not just a tale of paperwork and policy. It is about real people. Some in custody may have done wrong, yes, but many, by the accounts, are not criminals, only seekers, waiting out the slow wheels of justice. Their fate today hangs on which judge reads which brief in which part of our country. Picture a family in a modest apartment, sunlight creeping through curtains, eyes fixed on a clock, waiting for news. Will father come home, or will the wait go on? This is the heart of our union's problem, justice that changes by zip code, by shifting winds, by who shouts loudest. But remember, America's strength is her unity. No policy, however needful, should come at the cost of turning one court against another, or the people's faith against the officers who serve them. Not all news is black and white. The Department of Homeland Security and the Justice Department claim they do no wrong. They say, we are ready. The law is ours to keep. They warn of rogue judges blocking the people's will. Some say, good. Let the rule be clear, hold them all, and hold firm. Others cry out, no, every person, no matter his papers, deserves his hearing before the state takes his freedom. Yet the trouble is deeper. It is bigger than one headline, one vote, or one set of faces on the TV. The crisis touches the very soul of how the Republic lives, by laws, not men, by steady compromise, not force of will. Think of a border checkpoint at dusk, lamplight pooling on tired faces, an officer glancing from screen to screen, order and worry mixing in the air. There are no easy heroes or villains here. There are only Americans, judges, officers, families, detainees, caught in a contest older than any single law. History has seen this before. In my day also the courts and the president quarreled. Each claimed duty, burned with zeal, sometimes spoke out of anger or fear. But always I begged my countrymen, be steady, be calm. Remember the whole house, not only your own room. Pause and recall. The law does not stand so one side may always win. It lives so that both safety and mercy, both strength and forbearance, may have their turn, their limits, and their judgment. Now, as then, courage is needed, but not the kind found only in orders or protests. The courage of citizenship, of steady, patient restraint, matters most. Picture a row of American flags flapping in the wind outside a courthouse just before noon, passers-by pausing to look up, wondering for a moment about the country's course. In the rush of events, the easy path is blame, but our way, the hard way, is to bind up our wounds, search together for the just middle. Let us look deeper at what is at stake for the Republic. Let us remember, the Republic can be saved. Think back on every moment in our past when systems broke under weight, when too much power piled in one place or too little in another. Picture the steps of the Supreme Court at sunrise, a line of lawyers and citizens gathered outside, each clutching letters or briefs, quiet but determined. Such scenes remind us, the rule of law is not a thing we inherit perfect. We carry it, build it, and fix it together. Today, the crisis at our courts asks each of us to see both sides. It asks those who write and enforce laws to respect the checks of the bench. It asks judges to carry their burdens fair and swift, but not to set themselves as rulers over policy. If you sit at your breakfast table, coffee cooling, and wonder, how can I help? Know this. You already serve the Republic when you insist on fairness, on reason, on patience with those who disagree. Imagine a group of local citizens gathered in a public library, scanning newspapers, soft voices debating the news, looking for sense and hope. The founders warned us, when any one branch mocks another or claims all the right, trouble soon follows. Some officers may mean well, but push their tasks so hard that the courts cannot keep up. Some judges, out of honest worry, may stretch their reach and risk confusion. Let us carry forward what we learned. Let us look toward the sunrise, not just the clouds that trouble us now. America's story is an old one, full of hard winters and bumpy fields. Some days, our courts and our laws are like an old plow cutting new ground, meeting stones that jostle and stall it, but never breaking it. Not all news is black and white. Even in my own day, good people fell into bitter dispute about what the law required and how justice should be done. And yet, through many storms, the Republic held fast. Why? Because enough citizens decided steady hands build more than raised fists. Think of a school gym during election day, long tables, poll workers talking quietly, each voter stepping up in turn, trusting the process, even if it moves slow. Our whole system is like that. Many hands guarding the steps, so the outcome, though never perfect, is as fair as men and women can manage. Today, the tension between the executive branch and the courts is like two oxen in the same yoke, pulling in different directions, yet tied together. If one refuses to yield, the whole wagon suffers. Imagine an immigration officer at a rural highway checkpoint. Cold wind whipping his coat, cars passing slow, mothers clutching children in back seats, everyone wanting answers, and most only wanting fairness. This struggle is not one that can be solved by shouting at the TV or sharing blame on the corner. It lives instead in the small choices of a judge reading one more brief before dawn, of an officer keeping his word, of a citizen refusing in his heart to call everyone who disagrees an enemy. The founders built a republic, not a kingdom. They meant for the people's work to be hard, their voice to be many, and their freedom to be always guarded by law that stands above any one person, party, or moment. Picture a tired mother at her kitchen table, a half-eaten dinner at her elbow, reading a letter from a loved one in a detention center. Her hope is not in policy, but in fairness. She waits for a process that cares and listens, not one that crushes. We are not called to be bystanders. Every American, from high office to the last house on the road, holds up the pillars of this order. If we let distrust rule, if we say judges cannot be fair or that law officers act only from hate, then we saw at the roots of our own peace. There is nothing more dangerous than thinking only one side has virtue, only one speaks for safety, only one guards mercy. History has seen this before, and it leads always to ruin. Let us picture a row of small-town houses, flags hung from each doorpost, the quiet talk of neighbors on porches at dusk, each different, but each bound to the other by more than fear or anger. Here is the path: discipline, mercy, and law walking together, never far apart. The executive looks to the safety of the people but knows his power has limits. The judge weighs each case, but remembers he is not a king. The citizen trusts, but with watchful care, that all, officer, judge, neighbor, deserve respect. Let me speak plain. If the courts are overwhelmed, we must not rush to anger nor look for someone to blame. Instead, urge those who serve to find new ways, to be humble, to admit the load is too great, and ask the people's help. If laws are unclear, let Congress meet, as they were chosen to do, and write better laws. If families are broken by delay, let communities draw close, not to fight, but to care for each other in the waiting. Think of a city park at lunchtime, workers eating sandwiches on benches, a group of children playing tag, an older man reading a newspaper in the shade. One nation, many stories, each one precious. This is how the Republic steers through confusion, not by breaking, but by bending just enough to keep going together. That is true courage, the courage of compromise, of patience, of honor. Are we not still the land of we the people? Is our bond so thin that a season of trouble shall break it? Let old wisdom guide us. In my time, men argued in Congress until candles burned low. They argued, but they returned again the next day, arms tired, but hope not spent. They knew the value of calm, of listening, of giving ground sometimes for the greater peace. Today, let us teach this to our children by how we speak, by how we treat those we meet, by how we answer anger with reason. Picture a teacher with her students, chalk in hand, drawing the 3 branches of government on the board. See the eyes of every child, some bored, some eager, some puzzled, but all learning what it means to live free and safe under law. Let us keep faith not only with those who agree with us, but with all our countrymen. When the news unsettles, when the future seems unclear, we stand stronger if we reach across and clasp hands, not to surrender principle, but to remember we belong to one nation and not many camps. America's strength is her unity, unity, not sameness. Unity is forged in disagreement, handled with care, in law honored when it is hard, in mercy shown to the anxious and the lost. There is no easy way back to calm, but every lifetime has times of fear and confusion. What matters is the spirit with which we face them. If you hear anger, answer with patience. If you hear doubt, answer with hope. If you see confusion, speak for balance. Imagine a judge leaving the courthouse at dusk, coat slung over her arm, nodding at a police officer on duty, a thank you shared in passing. In that moment, small as it seems, the work of the Republic is strengthened. What will you say at the dinner table when your children ask about the arguments in the news, the courts, and the laws? Will you choose words that open hearts or ones that close them? This much is certain. The future is not settled by the loudest voices, but by the steady ones. America will be what her citizens choose every day, in courthouse and kitchen, in town hall and corner store. The Republic can be saved. It will be saved by citizens, by you, who choose calm over rage, law over impulse, unity over blame. Picture the sky above your street at sunrise, the light breaking through. Every new day is a chance to restore trust, to do justice, to teach forbearance by deeds, not words alone. I ask you this: when storms come and the path grows rough, what kind of country do you want to leave behind? Will it be one of anger and scorn, or one where, through all our discord, we still find the wisdom to keep the Republic whole? The answer is not just for judges, nor for lawmakers, but for each heart. Let us act in ways worthy of this trust. Let us shield the law, not as a weapon, but as a safeguard for all. And let every division be met, first and last, with hope. So, as the lights fade in the courthouse and the street outside grows quiet, I leave you with this question. In your own life, at your own table, how will you help the Republic endure? Will you be a mender of the breach or one who widens it? History opens a new page each morning. Let us write upon it with steady hand, a chapter of unity, reason, and quiet courage.